What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Tuesday morning. Hope you guys are feeling well this morning, having a great start to your day as always. Hope you guys are having an awesome start to your first week of August. Got you an update on what is likely going to unfold weather-wise for your August the 2nd. So there's some pretty active weather ongoing right now. Nothing too crazy, but there is a big-time flooding issue ongoing in areas of kind of the southern half of Illinois, if you will. Certain areas have seen over 10 inches of rain in the last, I would say, 12 to 14 hours. We'll talk a little bit about that. And there's still ongoing showers and storms in that area. A pretty big complex of thunderstorms rolling through that area. We'll talk about that, like I said, and then we'll talk about the rest of the country that could see some active weather today. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Hit me up with the join tab if you ever thought about joining the channel. It's just a way to support what I do monthly. I'm trying, it's a long shot, but I'm trying to get back to 20 members to the channel by the end of August. I was there once upon a time back in the early summer, but the sense of loss of members, which is understandable. Hard times out there financially, gas prices, everything's pretty wild. It pretty much costs a leg and an arm to go to the grocery store these days. So totally understand, guys. I really do. Hit me up on social media. It's a great way to support what I do also, and it's a great way to follow along, especially when things are much more active. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you like it. And if you guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So I'll quit yapping my jaw, and we'll go on and get going here. Big time ridge of high pressure way out here in the western U.S. This will pump the heat and really enhance it here and across the middle of the country. Texas will get very hot today. I really feel bad for you folks out in Texas. You know what's wild is I had a truck driver come into my job. I work at Cummins here in Columbia, South Carolina. Had a truck driver come in, and he mentioned that he lives in Hillsboro, Texas. And I was asking him, what part of Texas is that exactly? He said, right smack in the middle of it. And I said, how are y'all dealing with that heat wave? He said, well, it's devastating. Everything's dried up in his specific area. They have not seen rain in 2 months. You combine that with the intense heat, that is just devastating. It really is. So I'm really praying for you guys out there that somehow y'all can see some consistent range. It's not always good to get it all at one time, but that might be the only way y'all end up getting it out there in Texas. Really hope you guys see some rain soon. But anyways, ongoing flooding issue right now in Illinois. I'm not comparing it to Eastern Kentucky where the death toll continues to rise. Last thing I saw was 35. I know Ryan Hall is doing a great job. He's got a team together. Created a team. I think he lives in Kentucky. I saw it on Twitter. He has a big convoy of bringing supplies out there. So props to him and doing that and putting that together. That's really awesome. That he's able to do that. But, no rain really in that area right now. But the issue right now is in Illinois where you just got showers and storms that are popping off over the same areas. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But rolling on through, as far as the severe weather risk today, there's a marginal risk for severe weather in this area. So we'll see a microburst, I think, will be the biggest threat, which is basically when you're kind of driving along and it's raining and all of a sudden it just goes crazy. Crazy winds, heavy rain, that's usually a microburst. And sometimes we can actually get this on video. And I'm sure y'all have seen that on video a couple times. If not, maybe one of these days I can show you guys what it looks like from afar. But there is a slight risk for severe storms across the far northern U.S., includes northern areas of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then the western end of the UP of Michigan. Watch out. Tornado threat, not that big of a deal anywhere today, but the wind threat will be the biggest deal with this area right here, and a slight risk. Well, we could watch out for damaging wind gusts. Hail threat will also be a risk today, so we'll watch out for that. Excessive rainfall outlook. This is really for right now, honestly. Not really so much for the rest of the evening. Of course, there will be a chance for showers and storms in this area this evening, but really right now, with the ongoing flooding risk, there's a moderate risk for flash flooding, which is basically a 40% chance of flash flooding guidance being met in this red area. Slight risk extends even all the way through the rest of Kentucky, a large portion of Tennessee, and southern Indiana, where basically any rain in this region is probably not good. You need a break. You need a break from the rain for sure. So we'll watch out for the flooding risk. That has been the big weather story over the last 7 days for sure. The heat is really flexing across right in the middle of the country, the entire state of Missouri. And even though you don't see heat advisories in Texas, very hot weather to occur in Texas today, where it's going to I wouldn't compare it to the 110 degrees you saw in certain areas maybe a couple weeks back, but widespread over 100-degree readings in Texas today with no rain expected. And then you see these little red counties right here that is flash flood warnings ongoing with just the ongoing rains. And then you still got the flood watches up for these regions where any amount of rain is not good. So we'll watch out. And then you see in this different colored shade of purple right here compared to this is red flag warnings. But this little darker kind of version of purple is excessive heat warnings up for areas like Minneapolis today. So intense heat expected in those areas that are just not used to this kind of heat in this part of summer or really any time of the year. So let's break this down. And I'm going to show you the NAM too for about pointing to my screen for this area up here because I think it's going to verify better than what the HRRR model is showing. But here we go. Let's take a look at the HRRR model today. Not expecting widespread showers and storms. I do expect it to be a pretty stormy afternoon and evening for especially the southern tip, the southern half of the peninsula of Florida, and then tropical downpours possible in Mississippi, Alabama, and southeast Louisiana. But really, we'll watch out this area today. I tell you what, the HRRR model does not show hardly anything in the marginal risk right in this area for this afternoon. But you get a little bit closer and you look at the NAM for this region, and I feel like the NAM's verifying much better. So this is St. Louis, and what we need to watch out for is this. This is actually real time what's going on. You see these little green boxes right here. That is a flash flood warnings occurring right now. So this is an outflow driven area of storms, meaning you can't really see it on radar, but there is an outflow right here. And this is trying to actually move a directional flow out of the northeast to southwest, which isn't super common for this region of the country. So St. Louis, I know you're looking at this and probably thinking, well, this storms aren't going to hit us. And they might not, but I'm really watching this area a little bit later this morning. Could get a round of severe storms. Maybe not be severe, but at least some gusty showers and storms are certainly possible in this region right here in the country. So we're just watching this complex of storms where I think the directional flow will eventually shift like this. So we'll watch this today, a little bit closer look for this area and what the NAM is trying to show. And here it is. It's trying to develop here. Its course, it's off a little bit, but develops this weird bowing out of line of storms. It kind of flexes itself out a little bit. It kind of weakens, if you will, as you get into around the lunchtime hours, as is approaching St. Louis and southeast Missouri. But we'll see how much these storms hold together as they get into this region of the country for sure. And then we'll watch out for some scattered strong to severe storms in areas in and around Nashville, the Bowling Green, Kentucky, to the Paducah, Kentucky. Watch out for this area. But I'm not seeing widespread showers or storms for eastern Kentucky, which is good. We don't need it in this area for sure. But moving forward here, very hot day in the Carolinas and southeast Georgia, even northern Florida. I think somebody's going to try to get a sneaky 100-degree reading in South Carolina today. It's just going to be one of those sneaky hot summer days where you don't have any heat advisories. I think there's a little bit more dry air in place, not to the fact where there's no humidity, but temperatures are going to rise. It's going to get pretty hot today. It really is, guys. So take your, if you work outside, definitely be aware of how hot it is out there, and drink plenty of water even when you're not thirsty. But hot day across the southeast, and even hotter across the south central U.S. where it just continues to be brutally hot. We'll talk about that here in a second. Northeast, pretty quiet, except a round of showers and storms could work its way through Vermont, New Hampshire, and especially Maine today. In Maine, they could be strong to severe. So if you're in the northern half of Maine, watch out for some strong to severe summer storms today, and they might work their way into the Down East area this evening around dinner time. Is certainly possible. Hot day across the I-95 corridor everywhere, from Washington, D.C. up to Philadelphia, New York City, all the way up to Boston. Through Connecticut, Rhode Island, temperatures in the 80s and 90s. Just your typical summer day, but it's still going to be hot for this neck of the woods up here for sure. Interior areas of the Northeast, just typical kind of summer conditions. Higher elevations probably just locked into the 70s, maybe even some 60s for way up there. The South Central U.S., no big rainmakers expected. Nothing in Texas. If someone's lucky in East Central Texas, maybe an isolated downpour, but you just need to knock this pattern. I've said it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's weird. This isn't something that's, I would say, verified. But once you get these ridges locked in place. Sometimes it really does take a big time tropical system to knock these systems out of place. That's just my theory. Everybody has weird theories. Some people think that they live in microclimates, and I think it's true. Sometimes, here near locally, we got a lake called Lake Murray here in the Midlands of South Carolina, and I think it has a big influence on thunderstorms. Whoever lives on certain sides of the lake, I think it decreases the chances of storms making it across the lake. Anyways, I can go on and on about that, but I think certain areas have issues getting rain. I really do think it's true. But when you're talking about a large-scale pattern with a ridge of high pressure, it's sometimes very hard. And what all they do is they pivot back and forth. They'll move to the west, and they'll move to the east, and they'll move back to the west. And sometimes you just need something to really just knock this out of place. And whatever that may be, I don't know. But it needs to happen because Texas is, I'm surprised it's not more of a crisis right now. It's not being talked about more. But you guys are having issues with the heat. And sure enough, it's going to heat up across Texas today. Well over 100 degrees for probably over 50% of the state. Oklahoma, very hot too. Not to keep you all guys out the talks, but Kansas, very hot. And just brutal heat just continues across this area of the country, and will continue today for sure. So praying for you guys. Hopefully something can change in that area. The north central U.S. expecting from an upper trough in Canada, a round of severe storms could potentially move through. My dude up there in the UP of Michigan, and then I got another guy, Robert, I think, in the UP of Michigan. Watch out for some severe storms today if you're up in that area. Could sweep through maybe in the late evening hours, not so much this afternoon and this evening, but watch out. Give or take an hour around the midnight time frame, you guys could see some strong to severe storms. So definitely be aware of these nighttime storms that might sweep through the UP of Michigan. It's certainly possible. And it looks to really hold together all the way through the overnight hours, the wee hours of the morning, and then makes its way into southeast Canada. So very impressive complex of storms could make its way through this area of the country today. So please be weather aware. Temperatures, tight. I wouldn't say a tight boundary, but a boundary between just typical summer type weather. And the further west, and especially southwest you work, the hotter it gets very quickly. Minneapolis will get into the mid to upper 90s today with that urban heat island. I'm sure that will really take an effect, and I think that's why you got excessive heat warnings in this area. I think it'll be very hot. I would not be surprised if there's an isolated 100-degree reading or two in the state of Minnesota today for sure. But it gets very hot and uncomfortable in Nebraska. It's more of a dry heat, but still enough to prompt them heat advisories. 100-degree readings well all the way into South Dakota as the heat continues to flex out here. The tropics, guys, it continues to be quiet. It really does. The sun is rising on the North Atlantic Basin. Dry air. It's going to be very hard to see on your screen, but if you look very closely, like in this area, you'll see shades of brown underneath these clouds. That is dry air aloft. And say what you want, but that is, I believe, a big factor on why it's quiet. We're starting to get to the time of the year where, in general, you can have all these negative factors working against these tropical systems, but the more you get closer to the climatology peak of hurricane season, the more these factors don't typically bother these tropical waves as much. You got a lot more working for it than going against it. So we'll continue to watch, but I'll tell you, these long range, the GFS is liking the idea and hinting at an increased area of moisture shooting out the Western Caribbean, getting to the Gulf of Mexico. It showed hints at maybe the mid-month time frame, maybe beginning to get more active. But as far as the MDR, the main development region, I don't see anything. That could change quickly in the next 4 to 7 days, so we'll continue to watch. But that's all I got, guys. I might have a video just breaking down the tropics again, talking about it, seeing what we see. So stay tuned for that. I might not. Just depends on how it goes, guys. July was a very busy month. That was one of the biggest reasons I took a break on the evening videos. But August, we'll see how it goes. I don't want to jinx it and say it's not going to be a busy month, but who knows. Anyways, God bless all y'all. Have a great Tuesday, and I'll talk to y'all soon.